What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 3 of Lyon Live here in Football Manager 2019. We're back once more. If you missed the previous episode for whatever reason, do go check it out. As always, it was a long one. A little longer than I'd like, perhaps, but you guys seem to love it regardless. It ended up being, I think it was like 70 minutes long. It was way over an hour, so if you missed it for whatever reason, do go check it out and catch up. In it, we went over our scouting and our staff setup, and I got a few comments after it just saying that they found the video useful, which is the exact point in this series. So I was very, very happy to hear that from you guys. Today we are going to be continuing on largely with transfers. Obviously, we are trying to get rid of Mbia. Raphael is on his way out the club. We left things with basically all of our transfer dealings collapsing at the end of last episode, which wasn't ideal. Hopefully that's not going to be an ongoing problem. One thing that I did notice up here last episode, and I didn't actually check it out, was the fact we have some clauses that we can sell on. The one that actually stands out to me is the Lacazette one, where we could sell on the clause where we're due money if Arsenal reach the group stage of the Champions League. I'm kind of tempted just to sell it to get the money right now. Of course, Arsenal in the Europa League first year, but they're going to, I mean, they should reach the group stage, but for the sake of, well, not £80,000, I almost feel like it's worth just getting the 1.4 million now. So we're going to sell that clause, and that is immediately going to be added to our finances and give us just a little bit more flexibility in the market. Now, of course, we continue things on here, really looking for a centre-back. We've got Derek Boyata, who we could still confirm as a signing. There wasn't an overwhelming positive or negative consensus to him in the comments, so at least for now, we're going to have him on the maybe list. Of course, we were looking at Kanate, but I kind of screwed up by accidentally continuing before I submitted an offer. As a result, I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get him in, but we're going to do our best to. I sifted through some of the YouTube comments, and one that was really highly rated was actually suggesting that I pick up Wallace from Lazio. Now, this guy is a very, very good centre-back in FM. He's only 23. Yes, he is Brazilian, which I guess from the perspective of him taking up one of our international kind of non-EU slots isn't necessarily ideal, but he has already spent 2 years in France, and at least according to the YouTube comment I got, apparently he's going to cost around 15 million, which if it was the case, might actually be a really good value kind of player for us. So let's see if we can pick him up, I guess. I don't know what they're going to want for him necessarily. He isn't an international yet for Brazil. So with that in mind, I'm kind of tempted to make an offer that might involve him playing for Brazil a set number of times. He's valued at 10 million. I wouldn't really want to pay over 15 million for him. I'm going to throw in a deal here with a... We'll start off with an £11 million fee and an international appearance fee of 3.5 million. And I'll also throw in a profit sell-on as well. Okay. They've negotiated back. They want quite a little bit more money than I would like to give away. Let's try 12.5 plus 3.5 after 20 games. Again, with that 5% sell-on. I mean, it's slowly going down here, isn't it? Maybe if we keep at 20% profit sell-on. I do really like the look of Wallace here. I'm going to lock in the percentage here because they seem to be upping it slowly. Let's lower the international appearance fee just a little bit to £3 million and try this. Okay, they're happy with that. 17 million for him. We've not all of it immediately. I think we will wait and just see what the scout report says, but besides his mediocre concentration, he does look like a very, very good defender. And although you can see here, full green circle for no-nonsense centre-back, I'm kind of looking at the 11 passing, 11 technique, 12 first touch, and I guess the somewhat limited vision. I'm thinking that actually with the ball at his feet, he might not even be a bad player for us. So, yeah, he looks like a pretty good addition. Well done to the YouTube commentator, or commenter Akash, who suggested him. I think he could be pretty good for us, assuming that his wage demands aren't too high. Lille have made an offer for Mbia again here. Again, it's a £0 offer, but let's hope that we can get him out. And then Wallace here, not the lowest wages in the world, but they're not too horrifically high, and he wants a fairly long-term deal, which is good. I'm going to remove and exclude the yearly wage rise. I'm going to try and get the wages down to... I'm going to try and lowball him to begin with at 35 and see what we get back. 48. I wonder if we can get to, like... I reckon 38 might be doable here. Okay. I'm going to go for £39,000 a week. That works for them. It's a little more than perhaps I'd like, but £39,000 isn't the craziest wages in the world for a player. If we compare him to Marcelo, who is probably, well, arguably our best centre-back right now, Wallace is a better player than him, no doubt about that. And his wages are only a teeny tiny little bit more. I guess the only concern with Wallace is he does take up a fair whack of our budget. Of course, we've also got Boyata and also Konate, who we might be bringing in. Excuse me. So I feel like between those three, we don't need to sign all of them, but I feel like we should have the centre defensive kind of centre-back issue somewhat solved now. Anyway, a few more scout reports coming in here. I did see someone suggest Almiron. Of course, he is signed for Newcastle in real life. At the time of recording, the January transfer update hasn't happened in FM. Almiron could be an interesting attacking midfielder. I did feature him in a video kind of some of the, the players that I'd recommend picking up in FM this year, back at the start of the season. So he plays for Atlanta. You see, he's a very good player down the middle, but he's not kind of the natural winger, which is kind of what I was looking for. At the same time, if we could get him for like a not too crazy fee, say 5.5 million, that would be a good bit of business. 5.5, I would rather keep the sell-on clause low and up the fee a little. 5.75, 6 million seems pretty good for him, to be honest. We'll have to keep an eye on his wage demands. I do think I bottled the Konate deal here. I don't think we're going to be able to negotiate it. I don't want to go too much higher than what I'm offering here. Still deemed as unacceptable, of course. We've got a load of scouting assignments queued up at the moment. We did mass scout the the French kind of national youth team. So I'm hoping some players might get thrown up there. Almiron, I mean, it's not small demands, but it might be workable. It might be workable. I'd like to try and negotiate the wage demands down. See, he's on barely anything at the moment at his current club. He is on barely anything. I've accidentally undone the current offer, which is a little bit annoying, although we can just undo the changes here. I'd like to get his wage demands down to 50,000. I wonder if we could sneak in some clauses here, like a Team of the Year bonus to sweeten things here. Maybe a seasonal landmark goal bonus after 20 goals. We'll give him 300k. Okay, I still think 50k might be negotiable here if we play super hardball. Indeed it is. So 50,000 seems really, really solid for Almiron as well. So that could be another good shout from you guys in the comments. We'll get a scout report on him as well. I've not had a chance to use him, to be honest, in FM this year. And obviously, with him going to Newcastle, I'm probably not going to have another chance to use him in any future save games. So this could be a good opportunity to get him in. As I mentioned, he doesn't really play naturally out wide. But he is very good down the middle. I say we haven't used him. I think we used him at Bayer Leverkusen now I think about it. But he didn't really play for us. But he could be a good option to Fekir at centre mid. He could also play at centre mid on attack duty reasonably well, you can see here. And additionally, we could probably train him to play out on the left and the right for a bit of flexibility and cover. And he's only 24. I really like Almiron as a player this year in FM. I feel like in terms of value for money, he's definitely up there in the current kind of, I guess, situation. So you can see here, and be it a Lille, no one wants to pay his wages. No one wants to pay his wages. Maybe we could try offering him out on loan with all of his wages covered, and then like maybe we could try and sneak in an optional future fee of just 500,000. I don't even know if this will work. Someone mentioned in the YouTube comments maybe trying to offer him out. Do I want to sign Boyata for 8 million? Do I? It's a lot of money. I'm hoping I can delay it again, but it might fall through if I try and delay it again. His wage demands are very, very small. If we get in him and Wallace, which seems likely now with Konate kind of the deal falling through, it would mean I've spent a fair whack of my budget across these three players. Would I have addressed all the problem areas? I guess that's one of the questions here. So 2 centre-backs definitely solves one of our problems. We're going to need to get in 2 centre-backs anyway. At £20,000 as well, Boyata kind of is in line with the kind of price that I would want to pay at top value for a wage-wise for a centre-back. Obviously, centre mids were pretty well covered. Attacking midfielders, we have lots of, to be fair, we have lots of gifted players out wide. Maybe Almiron would be a good addition down the middle. Of course, we do have Aouar, who can kind of be that option to Fekir. Isn't a dissimilar player either. How good is Aouar as an inside forward? His shooting isn't the best, but he's actually reasonably competent there. It's a question of, is Almiron going to be stepping on Aouar's toes, or can we kind of find a spot for both of them in the team? And to be honest, I think I can find a spot for them both in the team. 8 million's a lot of money. I kind of want to delay it again, but I think this will result in the deal falling through. It's a fifth of our budget. We are sat with £113 million in the bank. Can I ask for a bit more transfer budget? I can't. Of course, we're still trying to get rid of Mbia. We've had some offers on Ferry that we've rejected. He wants to leave the club, so I'd like to sell him if possible. We'll try transfer listing him for 3.7. I think, against my better judgment, I'm gonna try delaying Boyata again. I think this might make the deal fall through. I just feel like there might be better centre-back options out there that maybe our scouts can throw up from our assignments. If we can get in Wallace for the kind of money that we're negotiating at the moment, I feel like I'd want to go a little cheaper than Boyata for our backup. Obviously, when we first lined up Boyata as an option, it was kind of with the mindset of this guy is probably going to be second or third choice centre-back, where actually, if we can get in Wallace, I'm not so concerned. It doesn't look like the deal has fallen through, which is good. And we've also received £900,000 as part of the Valbuena deal with Fenerbahce, so that's nice too. I guess he played maybe in a European qualifier for them. So it's a little more money in the bank. And we do now have the deal being delayed. I'm going to switch to the list view here as well when it comes to our kind of scout suggestions. We've had a few thrown our way. Do I want to bring in Marin? I do quite like Marin, and I've used him in a Norwich save that I did, but I didn't get him when he was young. And I feel like he is kind of the go-to very strong but Wunderkid this year. But at the same time, I don't think he's necessarily going to play a great deal. He'd be more the kind of solid backup we need. I actually don't know how much you have to offer to sign him. I kind of just threw an offer of £1.4 million, expecting them to negotiate back. I feel like at that kind of money, we can't really afford to not go in for him, to be honest. He looks just very, very solid. A few other players that have come up here. Touré, who plays for Monaco. His contract's up at the end of the year. Consistent and good at important matches. Already playing in France. See, maybe he's a better option to Boyata. He's not as refined defensively, but he can play right back. He can play centre back. Bit of flexibility there. Maybe as well we could get him for a not too crazy fee, given the fact his contract's up at the end of the year. I'm going to try and lowball Monaco here at 2.5 million. Never mind. They want 23 million. It's a little out of our budget. There is Radoya here, who looks pretty good as a defensive midfielder. Of course, we're still looking for that defensive midfielder option to go with Toussaint, but he's a little bit out of my pricing range in terms of what I'd be willing to spend on a player, I think, right now. So Marin is looking like we can sign him, which is good. He only wants £2,000 a week here. I know a lot of people use this already, but one of the most powerful clauses in the game is just an optional extension by the club for 3 years. I often think with a player like Marin here, who I feel like, yes, you're going to be good enough for the first team in a few years, it's always worth almost doubling their wage demands if they're super low and getting this clause in. This clause, the optional 3-year extension, does often just get thrown out, so you kind of have to lock it in. Which can sometimes upset players in negotiations. But if you don't know, if you offer a player a significant wage rise, you sometimes get a line that comes up. And this is a good example of how I've upset a player by asking for a little more, by sticking in this clause. As I said, I think this clause is worth sticking in. I've now got to try not to ruin this negotiation. And I'm actually going to offer a little bit more than perhaps you'd expect me to offer here. I'm going to offer... I don't want this negotiation to fall through, basically. So in order to get this 3-year extension clause in, I'm probably going to have to offer him some pretty high clauses relative to a hot prospect. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, they're not too high at all. I'm going to give him a big signing-on fee. He doesn't have an agent, so we've not got to worry about an agent fee. I'm hoping here that he is going to accept this. which indeed he does. So, yeah, £7,000 is a little more than I was expecting to have to pay for him, if I'm honest. But I think longer term, that optional 3-year extension clause is worth it. It can only be triggered once a player goes into the last 2 years of their contract, but it is just a very, very strong clause to get in there. If you activate it, it just ensures that that player's wages remain low. You know, obviously for the duration of the initial 3 years and then the extended years. And longer term, in terms of as an investment, it's sometimes worth just paying that extra wages at the start of a player's contract to get that clause in. Okay, Monaco have gone in for Almiron. That kind of sucks a little bit, because I have a feeling that we might have some problems now trying to get him to agree to come to us. And I might have to up his wages. This is assuming the offer's accepted. See, they've offered less money than us, but it comes to the same total. Captain for the year, I think we'll stick with Fekir and Lopez, as it is in real life. They are the best 2 leaders in the squad, so nothing kind of too unusual there. Of course, both of them have recently committed their futures to the club as well, so they're kind of long-term players who I don't need to worry about necessarily. Just as a reminder, I've got my assistant just taking all the pre-season friendlies. You can see the game against Amiens here is on the 11th of this week, so we've got 5 days to the start of the season. That has come way quicker. Oh my gosh. That's not what I wanted to see. I've just clapped and punched my fist. Okay, Memphis Depay's out for 2 to 3 months. It's not really what I was hoping for, if I'm being completely honest with you. We've got some players whose conditions really aren't great. Of course, I did mention it a few episodes ago, but I set the start date with this save game to be kind of late into pre-season, just because I felt like that was the way to go. Also, Lopez is suspended for the first game of the season, so Georgialin, who looks okay actually, Matteo here, he is going to have to step up for that first game against Amiens, which will be, I guess, next episode, the way things are going here. I'll tell you what, I might regret not signing Boyata. I mean, we can still sign him, I guess, because we have got a few injuries now. Also, Marin's looking like a player who was worth signing. In terms of our transfer budget, it's 45 million. With all the current deals that we've got going on, we're going to be over our wage budget by 20k, but I'm not too concerned about that. In terms of transfer fee that we're going to be spending, I mean, if we include clauses in it, which I don't necessarily need to do. In fact, let's not include clauses in it. We're spending about 30 million, so we've got about 16 million pounds left to bring in some players. If we bring in the 2 centre-backs, great. With Depay injured, I kind of now need a very strong player who can play wide on the left, and Almiron would be that player, but I'm now a bit worried that we're not going to land him. Martial's been thrown up as a player. I mean, can we even realistically afford Martial? Maybe I can just ask the board nicely. Yeah, didn't think that was going to work, but it was worth a shot. Serge Gnabry is available. He's on loan. See, he could solve our problem. Udinese, I've already made an offer for him on loan. Bayern won a fair chunk of his wages paying for, and I think because of how we're committed to being over our budget, we can't offer that. So if I just nudge that down a little, Gnabry would actually be a great player if we could bring him in. It looks like they're not asking for too much either. He's either-footed, he can play on either wing. Our scouts rate him as well. They've given him an 82 rating. He is injury prone, but as a loanee, I'm a little less concerned about that. He could be a very good alternative to Depay. Given the fact Depay is now going to be out for 2 to 3 months, we have to, at least until Christmas, have a player who can step in. Our scouts have thrown up actually a lot of Bundesliga players here, but they are a little out of our pricing range if I'm being completely transparent with you all. I do feel like Gnabry, though, is a good option in terms of what we could do. I'm just curious now in terms of centre-backs who we've scouted, like who might be worth picking up. You've got De Jong, he's more of a centre-mid than a centre-back. Playing for Ajax, he's going to be, well, commanding slightly too higher a fee for me. So we could go with someone like Skirtle for just a lot of experience, but I'm not entirely sure it's worth it. Edson Mexer, I like the look of him, but he's injury prone, and we're already looking at a few injury prone players, so with that in mind, I kind of want to stray away from them a little. Let's again just have a look and see if there's any new transfer listed centre-backs here. It doesn't look like there is, other than Marcos Rojo, but he is already injured. How long is he injured for? Can we see it anywhere? I guess if I put a fitness tab on, we can see here. So he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. Could we loan him maybe? I'm going to be honest, folks. I am feeling the pressure about the fact that the season is starting so soon. Because we do not really have a squad yet. Who is loan listed? Let's have a look at loan listed centre-backs. Is there any slightly different players here? Not really ones with super high value, which makes me think they're probably not so good. In terms of other players, you see, we could go with someone like Phil Foden. Do I want to loan players in? Do I want to rely on loans here? That's, I guess, another question that I need to ask myself, really. Solanke could be good backup. He's not got the craziest wages. They want me to pay £10,000 a week, and if he's unused, 20,000. So we're probably looking at £20,000 a week for him. That's a little more than I'd like. Scott McTominay, McTominay could come in and actually be that backup to Toussaint that we want. His wages are very low as well. They only want £10,000 paid if he doesn't play. So I kind of like this as an option. I would not necessarily always condone, you know, bringing in a load of loanees, but I'm bringing in a lot of them as kind of... the issue I have with loans is I feel like you bring in a loan player and sometimes they become this very, very valuable squad player who you know you're never going to be able to sign long term. And so you're kind of in this situation where you play this loanee game after game after game, you develop them, you kind of get them into your system, and then at the end of the season they just bugger off and you never see them again. And given the squad situation we have, where we are down to our bare bones, loan signings at this point don't seem like the worst idea in the world, given the fact that the window is, you know, well, the window is still going to go for a little while, but the season is coming in hot. I didn't really think about how hot it was going to come in. When I set this up, I was like, oh, you know, 3 weeks, that's loads of time, you know, to get my team all set up. We're going to be laughing, it's all going to be fine. It's starting to not feel like that. Right, Wallace... We've still not got the scout report for. So for that reason, I'm going to delay it. Now, usually you can always delay a player for a week. But if it gets to Saturday before the game, I will just confirm that deal. Marin, I am more than happy just to accept immediately. He's going to come in. He'll be some good backup in the wide midfielder areas. We can promote him straight to the first team. We'll send him on a intensive language course as well. I know that I haven't sorted out my training yet. I think what we'll end up doing is we'll actually do that next time out. You know, pre the Amiens game, we'll go through and sort out all our players' individual trainings. But yes, that's married into the squad. So that helps a tiny bit in terms of relieving some of the stress that we have on our first team right now. But with the injuries that we've got, it's still not an entirely ideal situation. I'm hoping that Almiron will agree to join us rather than go to Monaco. But at this point, that feels a little bit like wishful thinking. I mean, I'm okay with the business that we're doing here, to be honest. I feel like if we were to sign all the players that we're currently looking at, I'd consider it a largely successful window. I'm just not sure if Almiron is going to want to join us. The fact that Monaco are in for him is a little bit annoying, isn't it? Oh, do I want to offer him more money? I'm kind of feeling a little bit of the pressure of the fact that we've got this injury now to Depay. I'm thinking, what is an extra £10,000 onto the Almiron offer? So with that in mind, I'm going to just throw that in there and hope that that can sway him to come to us instead of Monaco. I have no idea what kind of money Monaco are going to be throwing at him. Obviously, they have significantly bigger budgets than us, so I imagine they have a little bit more money to offer his way, but I really wouldn't feel comfortable offering him more than £60,000 for a player who I don't necessarily think will start every single game for us. I mean, in general, I'm pretty happy with things across the board. Like, it's not perfect, but it could definitely be worse. I just wonder if, in terms of players on the transfer list, if there's anyone that we should be looking at. Moussa Sissoko could be a really interesting one. if his wage demands aren't too crazy. Obviously, we have a lot of talent in the centre mid department, but I'm actually wondering if we could train him to play inside forward. I mean, he could just be a very good player. It's a case of would he be willing to be a rotation option and take a wage cut? I mean, we might as well just throw in an offer and see what he says. There's a little part of me as well that would like to bring in a few French players. So he wants £75,000, which is a cut off what he's currently earning. I need him to cut significantly more off for me to even be able to consider signing him. Again, I am just going to push for 50k and see if he'll take it. I feel like he's not going to be very happy. I'll go to 51. I'm feeling generous. I don't want to play. I'm going to have to give him in the region of 60,000, and I don't want to give a player that much, no matter who they are. McTominay is set to join. I've not scouted McTominay. I feel like we need a player like him. He looks like the right kind of player. We have got a few scouting assignments already going. I guess I could change the priority of the players that we're currently in the process of potentially, getting in. You can see all the players here, by the way, who we're kind of currently scouting. It's a bit of a backlog that we've got here. So I'm going to say prioritise the assignment on McTominay, please, and the analysis report on him. Same on Almiron and Wallace. Can we prioritise them? We can. Right. Hopefully we'll get those in. I don't even know if we'll definitely get them in before Saturday. It's 2 days away to start the season. Now it's 1 day away. Oh, well, it's nice to feel the pressure, isn't it? Suddenly our inbox is filled with more players that we've scouted. See, I would really like to get in Torre, but we're not going to be able to get him in for a little while. Adoy, scouts kind of like him, but I'm not so sure myself. Obviously, you can see the recommendation levels here for how much a player is recommended. I'm more concerned, to be honest, about the players that we're currently looking at getting in. The players you can see here, by the way, are all those players who play for the youth teams. Alan Saint-Maxime could be a pretty good player. He's right-footed, but he can play on the left as well. How much did they think he would cost? 7 to 13.6 million. I quite like the look of you. You kind of fit the bill of the kind of player that I want to bring in here. I'd like to maintain a French core, which has kind of gone a little bit out the window with some of the deals that we've had to do. But obviously, I feel like at this point we've probably got to just confirm the Boyata deal at 8 million. But I don't know if I want to do that. It's a lot of money for a player who might not play that much. See, Wallace, I feel like I can justify a little bit more because he would be the starting centre-back, but Boyata definitely wouldn't be. Let's again just have a look. So centre-backs here who we've scouted. Who are the players getting thrown our way? I mean, David Luiz. The wage demands are going to be crazy. Nordi Mukele. And that's almost not how you say his name, but I tried, okay. This guy looks good. He's not the best in the air. He's out on loan, so I don't even know if we'd necessarily be able to sign him immediately. See, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking Boyata might just be the best player to get in. He enjoys big matches. He's good in the air. He'll be a very, very good backup centre-back, if not the most versatile, playing a few different positions. Oh, that game is just coming way too quick. There is not enough kind of... As we continue forward here, there is not enough kind of interruptions of new scout reports coming in and transfer deals kind of starting to go through. PSG kicking off the season against Cannes. They get a win. Aouar's been doing well in training. I'm pleased with your work you've been doing. We will, as I said, set up our training at the start of next episode. Today's been just a transfer special, I guess you'd call it. Almiron goes to Monaco. Insert shocked Pikachu face here. That does cause me some problems with Almiron going there because, I mean, they've offered him £115,000. He was never going to sign for us. He was never going to sign for us. I do wonder, how good is Martinez? How good is Joseph Martinez? I do wonder. 25 years, I mean, he's not exactly super young. And I don't know how much they're going to want for him. wonder. I kind of want to try him out as much as anything. I'm thinking more as a backup player, kind of an impact sub. How does he compare? I guess Dembele is going to be the most similar player to him. See, Dembele is probably a little bit better attacking-wise, but Martinez has a little more to his game and could be just a very, very good rotation option. The other option is Ezekiel Barco, who was a really good wonder kid a few years ago in FM. I really don't hate the look of him either. I just feel like they're going to want more money for him than I'd like to pay. Yeah. 35 million is a little out of our budget. The other player they have is Villalba, but he's not quite in the same ballpark, I feel like, as the other players. Almiron wants a lot of money. A lot of money. 70 grand, jeez. You're good, but you're not that good. I think I'd go as high as 50, which is what we offered Almiron initially. $50. I'll keep your key player. 50 million. Martinez, don't mess me around here. We'll get the scout report on him and see what his hiddens are like. Boyata does not have the best scout recommendation, but then when you compare him to the squad comparison, it doesn't seem that bad. Also, I think the reason his report isn't so good, you can see it says how it's not possible to purchase this player at the moment. That is because he had a deal agreed with us, which is kind of a little bit of an oversight in FM where it thinks, oh, well, that player can't be signed, so it's not a good signing. But the reason he can't be signed is because we're delaying a deal. It's not cheap. It's not cheap for a backup centre-back. I don't feel comfortable. I do not feel comfortable making that offer. I really don't. I feel like there's got to be, like, a better option out there, especially if we're going to bring in Wallace, which I'm just going to confirm the deal on now because I'm panicking. And I might forget before the game otherwise. So we'll ask for confirmation on him. I feel like at this point, I'm going to trust the YouTube commenters who said he's pretty good. At 14 million, I think he solves the centre-back issue. We also delayed McTominay, who is injury-prone, but has great consistency. So again, I'm going to just ask for confirmation because he's a loan signing. I'm not as worried about that. Injury proneness as otherwise would be. Also, his wage demands are tiny. Oh, Boyata. Do I or don't I? Is Morial going to be adequate as a fourth choice centre-back for the start of the year? I'm going to trust my gut and say he will be. We're only going to have 4 centre-backs. I'm going to cancel the Boyata deal. I don't think it's worth it. You can see that Wallace joins us, which is a very, very good addition, which I'm pretty darn happy about, if I'm honest. Where are you, Wallace, my friend? We need to register you. You are going to eat at one of our foreign player spots, but I think you're going to be worth it. McTominay also comes in, of course. So in terms of what that does to our starting 11, that's going to see Denea move out and Wallace move in. I mean, our scouts say, or rather our coaches say he's a leading player for this division. I'm inclined to agree. He looks like a very good centre-back, so I'm not too concerned about signing him. I don't feel like he is necessarily a panic signing it, at least in the traditional sense. Certainly a big chunk of money paid for him, but I feel like 14 million for a player of his quality isn't too crazy, especially when you're looking at how much we were considering giving for Boyata, who is 4 years older, has significantly more drawbacks, and is just not in the same league as Wallace. So I'm happy with that. I kind of want to check out the Brazil under-20s team and just see if there's any good centre-backs there. Desperate times and all that. There's one, Leo Santos, who's there. We could scout him. I guess we might as well just throw a scout report. He's within our scouting range, so it's not... There's no reason not to do it, I guess. I just wonder if there's any other players here who I recognise as players who... I think, oh, I've used them before in FM, they could be good. I think Matias Fernandez, I've had some good experiences with in FM. Plays for Botafogo. Obviously, we are now using 3 of our non-EU player spots, so bringing in someone like Fernandez here is going to eat up another one of those spots. How much do they want for him? Okay, well, that 30 million is a little more than I wanted to pay, I'll be completely honest. I just wonder about Eder Militao. I'm curious how much... Porto want for him. I'm going to... Actually, you're not going to be able to sign him first window because he's only just signed for Porto in real life, of course. Right, that match... When is the match? When is this game kicking off? It's very soon. Is it now? I don't feel ready for it. I'll be honest with you. I feel woefully unprepared, and it is now. So with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. I feel like I've talked for so long and gone through so many player profiles, and yet, in the grand scheme of things, we've achieved so little. So yeah, next time out, we're going to have to work out what we do about the Depay situation, because he's out with a torn hamstring. I'm desperately hoping that Gnabry is going to be a player that we can just bring in. I mean, he'd be good. He'd definitely be a more than adequate player in terms of as a short-term solution for Depay. I don't expect him to put in the same level of performances, but the wages that we have to pay for him aren't too crazy. I'm not convinced that Martinez is the right signing either. I mean, our transfer budget available is huge now. Like, I could almost shift some of it back over. We've got money to spend. I mean, when you look at the actual squad balance now, suddenly centre-back doesn't feel as kind of immediately concerning as it once did. It's still not perfect, but I feel like it's manageable. Centre midfield-wise, we're fine. I feel like attacking midfielder-wise, I'd maybe like another player who can play down the middle alongside, you know, Fekir and Aouar, who I kind of consider our centre attacking mid-playmakers. I'll be honest, Almiron was the perfect player in terms of price, in terms of positioning. If you've got any suggestions in the comments for a player similar to him, I'd love to hear them. Other than that, I guess we could actually just set up a scouting assignment real quick. I think we have a scouting assigned. Yeah, we have a scouting assigned. So let's see if we can find a centre attacking mid who is going to be first team ready under the age of 25. And this is going to be ongoing. And I feel like there's a place here to set the priority. I might be wrong. I feel like there's a way to set super high priority, but maybe there isn't. But if there is, I need it to be the highest of the high priority, because I'm a little bit concerned otherwise about what we're going to be able to do here. Cruz, who have you got scout reports on already? Anyone who's actually good here? Zadas. I mean, he could tick the boxes in terms of as that backup centre attacking mid. We'll scout you again. You've actually got dual ownership. Plays for Braga, so he might be cheaper. The only other option is Jota. I've seen Jota become very good this year in FM, but the injury proneness is just a recurring trend at a lot of the players who I'm potentially eyeing up. And it is a massive kind of scary thing that I don't really want to look at too much and, well, consider, just because I'm not entirely sure it's worth the gamble. I mean, in the scouting centre, we've got loads of names here, but they're not really addressing any of the immediate problems we have. I need to have a think on things here. See, this is normally where I'd bugger off for half an hour and just go and sift through players, but I guess we'll be doing that next episode before the Amiens game. I feel like on the shopping list, we need a new centre attacking mid. We're going to sort out the training to start next episode, because I feel like we should have done that a little sooner in pre-season. We will almost certainly play that first game of the year. I'd also quite like to have a second look at our tactics just to see if there's anything I'm going to want to change going forward. But we'll leave that till next time, I think. Really, when you look at it, the team hasn't changed that much, has it? The transfer business, it feels a little underwhelming. So far, Marin, Wallace and McTominay, and no one on the outs, because Mbia keeps just rejecting any team that come in for him. Before we go, I feel like we'll just make this a recurring thing every episode. Where are you, Mbia? You're in the reserve team, aren't you? I'm just gonna offer him out. We'll do it every single episode until he doesn't come back one day and a team's made an offer on him, and maybe we can find him the dream move. Otherwise, he could potentially come in and be that fifth choice centre back, which we're currently hunting out for. If I can't get rid of him, that might even be what we end up having to do just to make use of his wages. I don't really want to have a player sat in the reserves not being used at all, particularly even if I think he's being overpaid. If he is a player who would, potentially fit into the squad and solve one of the problem areas that I am trying to potentially sign a player in. But anyway, I've talked for long enough today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode 3 of Lyon Live. As I said, I need some centre attacking mid suggestions. If you've got any, please do send them my way. We will almost certainly check out some of the suggestions next time out. I do also want to just say a massive thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. I don't mention this very often, but each and every one of you, obviously, you get featured in the credits at the end of episodes if you're above the $5 tier. But just to all of you, thank you very much. If you are on the WorkTheSpace Discord channel as a Patreon supporter, there is a channel kind of dedicated to this save game where you can basically let me know stuff you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes, such as how to sort out staff, doing scouting assignments. Obviously we've already covered those things, or just general FM talking points as well. Of course, do feel free to leave those down in the comments as well, but the Discord channel is a good place to put them because I can easily access them and, well, see what you guys would like me to talk about. Anyway, I'm going to go have a little bit of a nervous breakdown and panic about the fact the start of the season starts now, because we're not prepared. Hopefully I will see you guys for that. It's going to be entertaining. Hopefully it's not going to end as badly as it is at least appearing in my head. And, well, I guess you'll find out in episode 4 exactly how bad it can go. Guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I will see you guys again very, very soon. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.